Let's count down the 10 best Bionicle MOCs of 2023 from across the Bionicle community in today's video. We'll have a few honorable mentions, we'll start at 10 and work our way up to the number 1 winning spot. Now I asked you guys for your thoughts, so I based this list off of the community's thoughts as well as my own, but at the end of the day this ranking is my own thoughts. There may be other creations that came out this year that you think are way better than some of the ones that I included, and that's totally okay. I'd love to hear your thoughts on what should have been in this list, or maybe you're happy with this list, but there's only one way to find out. Let's start things off and talk about the top 10 best Bionicle MOCs of 2023. The number 10 spot goes to a pretty good one. This is Hully Mari Tower of Water by Patrick Biggs. The reason I gravitate so strongly to this build is the presentation. You know, the wings, the weapon, the incredible coral reef below it, and just the presence of Hully herself. Everything is working together to create a MOC that grabs you, pulls you in, and just won't let go. The striking colours of the base are so enticing and so pretty, and the pose of Hully sets the scene and lets you know how graceful and powerful of a character she is as she's swimming through the water. There's just such a strong presence and such strong storytelling to this creation. The way it displays, it feels like it's something you would see at an art museum. But the Hully build itself, it's brilliant. Using flag pieces on the upper legs to bridge the gap between the torso and the legs, the way the leg transitions from a thinner 1 stud sized point all the way up to about 2 or 3 studs as it gets towards the upper leg, and then the proportions, the anatomy, the building techniques, they're some of the best that I've seen on any standard Toa build this year. When I think about a really good Toa MOC, well, I think of this. Patrick nailed it. The number 9 spot now goes to the great Eero Okanonen, and they've built a MOC called The Forbidden Ceremony. So if you're not familiar with the Bionicle lore, in the Bionicle books and comics, the author Greg Farsidi put out a statement saying that love isn't canon in the Bionicle story, stating that romantic love is kind of useless for beings who don't really need to procreate. Now, a lot of fans don't really like this, especially when there's clear romance between characters in things like the Mutanui Online game and other stuff as well. Still, it's great that Eero was able to build a MOC that, takes this joke and, runs with it a little bit. Now, sure, this MOC rocks because of the joke, but technically it's also very, very well built. The Matoran designs are so full of life and, so full of love. Canonical, totally real love. I especially love the Kitorange robe on this character here. Very, very striking color scheme. It's gorgeous. But the landscape, I think, is what really grabs me here. Yes, it's using a lot of different system pieces to build, wonderful trees and rocks and grass, but it's also using a large amount of Bionicle parts to achieve this look as well. Using pieces like Rakshi spines for flowing water or growing roots coming out of the tree, or even using Kazani shoulder pieces, these pieces here, and that marbled look that they have, the dark green and the lime, letting that look like grass. Genius. All the different ways that AO has managed to capture landscape with Bionicle pieces is kind of unparalleled. I've never seen landscape dioramas look this good with Bionicle pieces. I think it's a very hard thing to do. Bionicle parts are made for character designs, and because of that, they don't really translate to building landscapes. But Eero made it work. That's just game-changing and mind-blowing for me. I love this. I canonically love this. The number 8 spot goes to a bit of a master, or rather, the maestro, and this is AAA Powerline. So this MOC was built for the BioCup contest, and it was built under the theme Man-Made Biome. And honestly, the maestro nailed this theme. The power lines, the traffic lights, the street signs, the caution barriers, all sorts of different stuff getting rolled up together into this strange beast was just fun. And the fact that the head design is this awesome glow-in-the-dark octopus piece, well, that's kind of the best part. It looks a little bit like electricity flaring off in strange directions, but I also love the idea that it's just a squid that somehow got pulled in and swept up in this unique conglomerate of man-made items that, came together through a hurricane or something, and now this squid is powering this unique battle mech or something like that. Now look, maybe that's not the Maestro's intention, but either way, it's a wonderfully unique head design, and it's so simple too. I love this because of that head design, but also the fact that they just perfectly executed the theme of the contest. This MOC is just a lot of fun. And by the way, that octopus piece is a very expensive Lego piece. If you've got one, you hit the jackpot. The number 7 spot goes to something a little bit different, but still simply awesome. It's Meng Yan by Ryan Z. So a big reason I picked out a lot of the MOCs that were featured in this video is because I gravitated towards creations that really pushed the limits, or maybe used designs that are a little bit more innovative or a little game-changing, things that have never been done before. And look, hey, if a MOC looks cool, that's good too. Well, I think this MOC ticks all of those boxes, but it especially ticks the innovation box. This interesting long-sleeved coat, I love it. The repeated use of these gunmetal armor plate pieces is insane. But the way it transitions into these plastic vinyl pieces, which I believe are the wing pieces seen on this specific avatar set, but the transition between those, it's magic. It really looks like the armor plate pieces are transitioning into the vinyl plastic and breaking apart into nothingness. It's one of the coolest transitions of pieces I've ever seen. Bridging solid pieces into vinyl plastic is something that I don't think has ever been done before, and it's certainly never looked this good if it has been done before. What an abstract but beautiful design. And I think the same could be said for the eyes on this head design. They're so uniquely alien. I just love how it looks. So it's great to see MOCs breaking new ground. Number 6 is a personal favourite of mine, and you might recognise it from some previous videos. It's a revamp of Meltdown, and it's built by WowBlock. Meltdown is an awesome Hero Factory character and a really good LEGO set too. Now, yes, I know this is a Hero Factory character, and I said this was top 10 Bionicle MOCs. I really meant top 10 construction MOCs, but not everyone knows what the term construction means. A lot of people think I've just misspelt construction. But hey, most people group construction stuff under the Bionicle banner now these days anyway, so that's more what I meant. Still, this MOC captures the essence of Meltdown, but changes it up in a really new and exciting way. One that just feels menacing and evil, but also sleek and cool in a wonderfully sinister way. This new Transformer-looking head design, coupled with an awesome blaster that also turns into a whip, one that's very reminiscent of the original set. Well, all of it's just a wonderful advancement on the original design, but made to look so much more badass. They've turned Meltdown into a kind of villain that fans would just love almost more than the hero, and that's simply because they look awesome. This is like the Boba Fett of Villain Factory. They just ooze cool. Plus, it's always a pleasure to see MOCs that have such clean shaping and what appears to be a good solid amount of posability. Oh, and number 5 belongs to Joxon with his MOC Dieselpunk. Oh, the king of character design strikes again, because this MOC has personality. The facial expression is just so full of life, and this wonderful punk rock aesthetic that's communicated through the jacket, the bracelets, the chains, the pants. The pants that flare up towards the bottom too. Oh, and the shoes. We can't forget the shoes. Everything about this just says so much. And all that different stuff works together to create a character with so much personality. And that little fuel tank is the perfect accessory, by the way, and it's because of the incredibly clear character that's been created. You immediately know what they're going to be doing with this fuel tank. They'll be lighting something on fire, and they'll be doing something rebellious. Plus, too, the choice to use these printed CCBS armor shells, which appear on the Darth Vader Ultra Build figure, this one here, that's a great idea to put that texture there on the pants. The perfect addition. Literally everything about this MOC is perfection. Up next is kind of a series of MOCs, but we're just going to focus on one specific one for now. So this is Bogorak by DV MOCs. Now, DV MOCs have been posting a series of revamps of the classic Visorak sets, and all of them have been very, very well made. But this is my personal favourite. And not only has DV MOCs reimagined the Visorak in a very original and new way, but they've managed to capture the look and feel of a spider in a very distinct way. One that feels biomechanical, but also very realistic and organic at the same time, which is so classic Bionicle. I mean, this leg design, for example, a big amount of it that has that mechanical metal feel, but then there's the dark blue armoring up top. How nice does that look? Plus those spider eyes and the spider butt too, using that Rakshi back piece and a few other circular elements to recreate that bulbous circular shape. But once again, it has that more mechanical feeling to it. It's awesome. Now, each spider in this series is taking inspiration from a real spider. This one is specifically based off of the cobalt blue tarantula. I would include a photo of that spider so you could see the similarities between the two, but I'm not going to trigger anyone who has arachnophobia or anything, so you can Google that one yourself. But yeah, this ticks the box of having a really original design, but also just looking really cool. Down to the final 3 now. The number 3 spot goes to Takanuva Definitive Edition by Brandon Builds. This is another MOC that's a part of a series. Now, Brandon revamped the Toa Mata as well as the Toa Nuva earlier this year, and he produced some of the best Toa designs that I've ever seen. Now, it was hard to pick a favorite, but I went with Takanuva because I think he's kind of the best example that sums up all of the characters in one. So he's going to take that number 3 spot. So why is it so good? Well, Brandon did an incredible job of capturing the essence of the original Takanuva set, but updating it with some modern techniques, but still keeping it close to the OG. Now sure, while Brandon has reimagined it and changed it, he's also added his own unique flair and his own personal touches with his own incredible building style. Now, I love seeing a revamp that pays so much respect to the original, keeps that same flair and spark that the original set has, but at the same time being sure to add a bunch of stuff that's refreshing, different, and frankly incredible. Brandon did all of that. It's very difficult, I think, to find that balance of marrying the old and new, but Brandon has done it in a way that honestly I don't think many builders could do. And to top it all off, this MOC's got a good range of posability. There's a lot to love about this. I mean, just look at that torso design. It's beautiful. Oh baby, now it's time for number 2. And it goes to Mitch Builds and his MOC Maxilos and Spinax. Now here's another MOC that marries the new and the old very, very well. But boy, the golden spine design that adorns this new take of Spinax. Wow, that splash of color and the lights running through it as well, it's just so impressive. Combine that with the way that Mitch has obviously studied the anatomy of a dog and poured his wealth, knowledge, and insight and understanding into this build. Well, it makes Spinax look very impressive. Now, Maxilos and Spinax are a pair, you can't really separate them, it's just like the original set. And I mean, hey, what's better than one really well-built MOC? Well, yeah, 2 really well-built MOCs. The pistons on the torso design of Maxilos, the super realistic and organic-looking shaping on every part of the body design, the wires running through the different areas of the body, I struggle to find the words. Mitch came, he saw, he conquered, and he built one of the best creations of all time. Now, it's almost time for that number 1 spot, but first let's quickly highlight some honorable mentions that almost made it in the top 10 and deserve some discussion. In no particular order, the first honorable mention goes to Loaf Builds and his Pohatu revamp. I had a lot of people tell me just how much they adore this revamp, and I get it. All the armor placement and the specific pieces that were used just brilliantly capture the speed and agility of Pohatu. And then the juxtaposition of this mechanical black greebled back design. Such a cool contrast. What a well-built Toa. Another honorable mention goes to Cesium. This is built by Marco. The way Marco has layered all these different gunmetal Technic panel pieces is a work of art. The crazy texture this creates looks like some kind of ancient armor. It's both sci-fi and a little bit medieval at the same time. I really like it. This is really one of the best examples of just how good repetition can look on any LEGO creation. Oh, and by the way, this sword, it's genius. It's using a ruler piece, and this appeared on an old LEGO Clickets set. I love seeing obscure LEGO pieces used so well. The final honorable mention goes to Lord Oblivion and his MOC Death Stranding BT Orphan. The way that Tony has managed to make plastic LEGO bricks look like moving, flowing tentacles. Oh, it's just incredible. The smooth and organic textures of this build are brilliant. But the other textures, like these flowing whips and tubes, it just looks like a mesh of wires. Wow, this is such a chaotic texture, but it all looks so deliberately placed and carefully thought out by the builder. The dedication and craftsmanship that takes is impressive, most impressive. Okay, it's time for the number 1 spot, and that belongs to a revamp of Nocturne, and it's built by your pal VB. Now, when I first saw this, my jaw dropped. It's astonishingly good. And yeah, when I first saw it, I thought, okay, yeah, this is a digital render, right? You couldn't actually build this in real life. It's probably using all kinds of connections that don't actually even exist. And that, sir, was where I was wrong. Here are multiple work-in-progress pictures, as well as some final photos of this built in the real world. And sir, wow, knowing that this is actually real makes it 1,000 times cooler. How the heck did VB create something that looks so organic and flowing? I mean, all those lime tentacles and the thick azure tentacles as well. How are they all attached? How does the body interact with that area? How? I love MOCs that stump me like this, and I love MOCs that barely even look like LEGO anymore because they use so many clever building techniques, and they use pieces in such smart ways that it stops looking like LEGO. Turning plastic into something organic like this, masterful. Oh, and of course, what a great way to reimagine the character of Nocturne, which was already a fantastic set. But this takes the essence of him and really does turn him into a creep from the deep. He looks terrifying. Honestly, this creation continues to blow me away months after it came out. I just wish I could see this in person. This is very, very deserving of that number 1 spot. I mean, those new, splatter pieces in Azure for the head design, So cool. So there you go. How'd you like the list? Did you enjoy seeing some of the best mocks of all time in 2023? Well, if you really enjoyed it, stay tuned because very soon I'm going to be uploading another top 10 video, and this one is going to focus on the best system-focused character and creature builds of 2023. We've just seen the best Bionicle MOCs, but what about the ones that use your classic system building bricks? Well, that's coming soon, so stay tuned. Be sure to check the links in the description below to see all the links to the different builders that I talked about in today's episode. You definitely need to give them a follow and take a look at their other work. These are some of the best builders out there. I guarantee you're going to have a good time checking out their other stuff. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Love you tons. Happy building, and bye for now.